Hello children, today we are going to start another topic, that is the human heart. Children, in previous video we had discussed about the human circulatory system. In that I have told you about three component of circulatory system. One is the blood, second is the heart, third one is the blood vessels. So blood we had discussed already. Now we are talking about the human heart. Why it is so important, you know very well. Human heart is a pumping organ of your body. Means the blood that is flowing, it will go all over the body by a pressure, and that pressure is given by your heart. So this is very important structure for the circulatory system and for the transportation of the blood all over the body. And why it is important? Because blood, you know very well, it is carrying oxygen, nutrients, carbon dioxide, all the waste material going from outside of the body, and useful things going inside of the body through the blood. And that blood is transporting through the blood vessels, and the because you know very well, the body of the human is very big. So for flowing the blood, there is a need of pressure, and that pressure is given by actually the heart. So this is very important to know what is the structure of the human heart, how it is going to function, so that we will discuss in this video. So what is heart? If we talk about the heart is a muscular pumping organ that pumps out the blood into the blood vessel. So it's a muscular organ whose size is as big as a fist. If you are going to hold your hand, going to bend your hand, it is going to be a structure just like we call it as a fist. So it is a structure just like a fist. It is located between the lungs, slightly tilted towards the left side. So the position of the heart is slightly towards the left side. If we talk about the membrane, by that heart is protected. You know very well, heart is now a muscular organ. If we talk about a muscular organ, means it should be protected. So the how heart is going to be protected. Now you can see in this diagram also, heart is covered by a two-layer membrane that we call as a pericardium. Again I repeat children, it's very important to remember, heart is covered by a two-layer membrane that we call as a pericardium. Now you can see in this diagram what is the structure of the heart. Human heart is actually four chamber. It is having a four chamber. Four chambers are actually meant to prevent the mixing of oxygenated, or you can say oxygen carrying blood, and deoxygenated, or you can say carbon dioxide carrying blood. So there should be a complete separation between the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, and for that there is a complete separation in the structure of the human heart also. Now you can see in this diagram. So heart is divided completely into left and right portion. This is the septum. By the interauricular septum and interventricular septum, heart is divided into a complete half portion, that is a left and right. So left portion is meant for the oxygenated blood, and right portion of the heart is meant for the deoxygenated blood, right? Now see, upper two portion, this is the separation, right? So upper two chamber of the heart is known as atrium, or you can say auricle, and lower two chamber of the heart is known as a ventricle, right? So if we talk about the left side of the heart, so left auricle, left ventricle. If we talk about the right side of the heart, right auricle and right ventricle. Both the left and right side is separated by the interarticular septum. Now again, auricle and ventricle separated by a septal wall. Same with the right auricle and right ventricle. You can see in this diagram, I am showing this. So, and before that, what is there? When we talk about the left auricle and left ventricle, so both of them is connected. Both of them is separated as well as connected. So what happens? There is a presence of a valve. That valves are known as a bicuspid valve. Remember children, the valves are known because two valve is present between the left auricle and left ventricle. So that's why that valve is known as a bicuspid valves, right? Same with the right auricle and right ventricle. Right auricle connected to the right ventricle with the valve. That valves are three in number, and that we call as a tricuspid valve. Okay. Now what happened when the blood is coming? So you know very well from your respiratory system, blood means oxygenated blood is coming to the lungs. From the lungs there is a presence of a alveolar sac, and in that there is a blood vessels. So that blood vessels is carrying oxygen, right? So that blood vessels that carrying the oxygen coming to where? Coming to the left portion of the heart, that we call as a left auricle, by a vein. That vein is known as pulmonary vein. So the blood that is coming from the lungs to the left portion of the heart, that blood vessel is known as pulmonary vein. Actually, what is there? Arteries and veins are meant for the carrying oxygenated and deoxygenated blood respectively. But there is an exception in case of pulmonary vein and pulmonary arteries. Actually, the work of the vein is to carry deoxygenated blood. But here is the exception when we talk about the pulmonary vein. So pulmonary vein is meant for the oxygen carrying blood, right? So that blood is coming to where? Coming to the left auricle. Now children, one more thing. When we talk about the left and right auricle or atrium, so the chamber, upper two chamber are shorter in size and lower two chambers are bigger in size. You can see here also. The wall of the lower two chamber is thick and wall of the upper two chamber is thin. Why the wall of lower two chambers are thick? Because when the blood is coming from the auricle to the ventricle, that time that blood should go from ventricle to all over the body, right? So that time there is a need of pressure, and for resisting that pressure the ventricular wall should be thick. So that's why the wall of the ventricle is thick in comparison to the wall of auricle. Now, again, when the blood is coming from the lungs to the heart, that time it comes to where? Come to the left auricle. When the left auricle is filled, that blood is coming to the left ventricle. After that, blood is pumping to all over the body by a common artery. That artery is known as aorta. You can see in this diagram, this is aorta, and from this aorta, there is a flowing of blood to all over the body. Now what happens? Between the left ventricle and aorta, there is again a septum or wall. You can say that walls are known as the semilunar walls. Whenever the blood is not going from the ventricle to the aorta, that time these walls are closed. When blood is flowing from the ventricle to the aorta, these walls are open. So this is the role of these semilunar walls. Same with the atrium. What happens from when the aorta is going to take all the oxygenated blood to all over the body, or you can say each cell of the body. So they are giving the oxygen, and in return the blood vessels is taking what? Carbon dioxide. So all the carbon dioxide carrying blood come to where? Come to the right auricle, right? So right auricle is having a vein. That vein is known as a vena cava, actually superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. From these vena cava, blood is coming to where? Coming to the right portion of the heart, and in right portion, first chamber of the heart, that is right auricle. From the right auricle, the blood is coming to the right ventricle, and from the right ventricle, this carbon dioxide carrying blood flow to where? To the lungs for the exhalation. By that we are giving out the carbon dioxide. So what happens? Right ventricle, again there is a artery. That artery is known as a pulmonary artery, and by that from the right ventricle, blood carbon dioxide carrying blood go to the lungs for the process of exhalation. So this is actually the structure of the heart. And a more simple diagram we will see in the next slide. This is a very simple diagram. By that I am trying to show the structure of the human heart. Now you can consider this box as a heart, right? So this is a four chamber heart, human heart: right auricle, left auricle, or you can say atrium, left ventricle, and right ventricle, right? Right and left, both side are separated from a septum. Same with the left auricle and left ventricle. Again, they are separated by what? By a bicuspid wall. Right auricle, right ventricle, separated by walls that are known as a tricuspid wall. Now you can see that, as I told you, from the lungs, when the blood is coming, oxygenated blood is coming, it will come by a vein. That name of that vein is a pulmonary vein, right? From pulmonary vein, blood enters to where? Enters to the left auricle, right? When the blood coming to the left auricle, then what happens? When it reaches to the left auricle, that time it is in a relaxed condition. Children, if you can remember these words: diastole and systole condition. When the heart is in a relaxed condition, that condition is known as a diastole condition. When it is going to be contract, because when the blood is going from the heart, it means there should be a contraction, and by that blood is coming or pumping by the heart. So that condition is a systolic condition, right? So what happens when the blood is oxygenated blood by the pulmonary vein come to the left auricle? So left auricle is going to be expand, right? And due to that, what happens when it is going to be filled? So that from the left auricle, blood is coming or transferred to where? To the left ventricle through this bicuspid wall. When the blood is not coming to the left ventricle, that time this bicuspid wall is actually closed. Once the auricle is filled, then is this blood is giving the pressure to the wall, and due to that pressure, this wall is going to open, and the blood is start coming from the left auricle to the left ventricle. Again, I have told you, from the left ventricle, blood go to the all body parts or organ by a common artery that we call as a aorta, right? So again, there is a presence of a wall. That walls are known as a semilunar wall. It is present between the left ventricle and the aorta. From this, the blood is coming to the main artery, that is aorta, and it go to all body cells or body organ. In return, all the cells is giving what? They giving the deoxygenated blood, or you can say carbon dioxide carrying blood. So carbon dioxide carrying blood come to by a vein. That vein is known as a vena cava, and by there is that you have seen in the previous diagram also, there is a two vena cava: superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. So from that, carbon dioxide carrying blood come to the right auricle. Once the right atrium is filled, it come to the right ventricle. From the right ventricle, through the pulmonary artery, deoxygenated blood come to the lungs, and from this lungs, by the exhalation process, we are exhaling carbon dioxide. So this is the overall structure of the human heart. I hope you will get it very clearly, because this is one of the important topic for your exam also. So this is a schematic flow that I am trying to show with this diagram. You can see very clearly in this diagram. This is actually a pumping action of the human heart. Now you see, when the blood is coming from the lungs to the heart, whether it is coming to the left auricle and it is going from the right auricle, in both cases it is coming by the arteries and veins. Name of that veins are the pulmonary veins and pulmonary arteries, right? Now I think it's clear to all of you. When the blood is coming to the human heart, or when it is coming to, especially from the for the left side of the heart, that time it is coming by a vein, exceptional vein, because veins are meant for the deoxygenated carrying blood. But here is the exception. In case of pulmonary vein, vein is meant just for the oxygenated blood. So blood is coming to the left auricle and it is going back to the lungs by a pulmonary artery. So in this case, you can see very clearly what happens. By the pulmonary vein, blood is coming. By the pulmonary artery, blood is going back to the lungs. So this circulation is actually known as the pulmonary circulation and pulmonary circuit. You can say circulation is the right word for you. Now from that, what happens, from the left auricle, blood is coming to the left ventricle, and from left ventricle it go to, by the aorta it will go to the all over the body. You can see this oxygen rich blood go to all over the body. Now what happens, there is a exchange, means arteries and veins are going to exchange oxygenated and deoxygenated blood through the capillaries, right? And after that there is a vena cava that is coming with that carbon dioxide carrying blood come to the heart. So that circulation is known as the systemic circulation, right? Now you can see in one cycle blood is entering two times into the human heart. It is going by two times through the human heart. So that's why it is known as double circulation. So double circulation is actually equivalent to the pulmonary circulation plus systematic circulation. Again, I repeat it. Double circulation is equivalent to pulmonary plus systematic circulation. That is known as double circulation, because when the blood is flowing once in a human heart, actually it is going two times. It is, and in a, for the one cycle it is entering from the human heart two times. So that's why it is known as double circulation, uh, pulmonary plus systematic circulation. So blood vessels are the third component of the human circulatory system. Now heart is meant for the pumping for the blood. Blood is flowing through a what kind of channel, what kind of pathway. So for that flowing, for that pathway, you can say there is a need of vessels, blood vessels actually, right? So there are the three type of blood vessels present in circulatory system. One is known as arteries, second one is the veins, and third one is the capillaries. Arteries are meant for carrying oxygenated blood. Veins are meant for carrying a deoxygenated blood. Exception, I have told you already, pulmonary vein and pulmonary artery. And when there is an exchange between the oxygen and carbon dioxide, that time arteries are going to exchange into a fine blood vessels that we call as a capillaries. So there are the three type of blood vessels: artery, capillaries, and veins, right? Now if you see the structure of the artery, arteries are having a thick wall because blood is flowing with the great pressure from the heart through the common aorta, and it releasing oxygen to all over the cell of your body. So that time there is a need of pressure so that blood can flow, blood can reach all over the body. So for that there is a need of a thick wall also. There is a so due to that thick wall, the lumen of the arteries are narrow, and veins are having a thin wall. Due to that, lumen of the veins are wide. Along with that, they have a wall to prevent the backflow of the blood. So veins are having a wall, arteries don't have a wall. In case of capillaries also, they have a wall to prevent the backflow. So this is the structure of the three type of blood vessels present in circulatory system. So this is the characteristic features and the functions of the blood vessels that I am showing with this table, and showing in this tabular form. So what are the functions, how the lumen is meant for the arteries, veins, and capillaries, and other features. Now you can see there are the three type of blood vessels: arteries, veins, and capillaries. If you see the function of the artery, so it carried oxygenated blood. Exception, I have told you, pulmonary artery. Veins meant for the deoxygenated blood. Exception is the pulmonary vein. And what about the capillaries? So capillaries take care of the diffusion of gases and nutrients from the blood to cell of the body. As I told you, lumen means the space of the between space inside the artery. So that is small and narrow due to the thick wall. This is where space in the veins are large, and capillaries are actually very fine blood vessels. So that space or lumen is very small. If you see the wall structure, walls are thick, Veins are having a thin wall, and capillaries is having a very thin wall structure. Other features, if we talk about the arteries, the presence of a muscular wall. Largest artery is the aorta, as I told you. Veins is having a wall to avoid the backflow of the blood, and same with the capillaries also, they have a wall to avoid the backflow. Along with that, they have a semi-permeable walls for the transportation of the gases and nutrients. The capillaries is having a actually same they are having a small holes all over that, so that, as I told you in the previous video, they have a when there is a exchange of the blood between the arteries and veins, some of amount of blood is going filter out through the capillaries, that we call as a tissue fluid or lymph also. So this is the these are the characteristics and functions of different blood vessels. So question is this, all the chordates are having a same kind of circulatory system or same kind of a structure of the heart? No, it is not like that. It depends on the their habitat or lifestyle, and due on account of that, there is a different type of structure of a heart they are having. So due to that, they have a different circulatory system also. Just birds and mammals are having a double circulation. Other than that, they are just a single circulation is there. Now you can see in this diagram, this is what if you we call about the chordates. Chordates is having a 5 classes, you know very well. What is that? Pisces, amphibians, reptiles, birds and mammals. These are the 5 classes. Now all of them is having a different kind of human heart structure, and it is just due to their habitat, and it is developed according to their evolution also, right? So first we will talk about the fishes. If we talk about the fishes is having a 2 chamber heart. You can see in this diagram very clearly, this is a heart structure is having a 2 chamber. One is ventricle and one is auricle, right? So 2 chamber heart is present, and the blood is pumped to the gills, where it gets oxygenated and supplied directly to the rest of the body. Blood goes only once through the heart during one cycle of the circulation. So this is just a single circulation. Now if we talk about the amphibians and reptiles, so amphibians and reptiles, you know very well, they are the cold-blooded animals, means they are not able to maintain their body temperature, and there is a mixing of blood also, right? So temperature of the body depends upon the temperature of the environment, because they are what, they are the cold blooded animals. They have 3 chamber heart, upper 2 chamber, you can see here also 2 auricle and a 1 common ventricle. So they can tolerate some mixing of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, and they do not use energy to maintain their body temperature. So that's why they are not able to maintain their body temperature in case of amphibians and most of the reptiles. Exception of the reptiles is, you know very well, that is the crocodile, that is having a 4 chamber heart just like the mammals. Now if we talk about the birds and mammals, you can say the heart is completely 4 chamber, right? As we have seen in the previous slide also. So 4 chamber heart is present in birds and mammals, and there is a complete separation between the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, right? And due to this complete separation, these actually this allow a high efficient supply of oxygen to the body, and this is because these animals have a high energy needs. And why they require high energy? Because they are the warm blooded animals. They have to maintain their body temperature, and to maintain that body temperature they need a high amount of energy, and this energy comes only when there is a complete separation between the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Now, and you have seen already, there is a 2 times blood enter in a one complete cycle. One is the pulmonary and one is the systematic. So that's why it is known as double circulation, children. This is very important. Number of time it is asked in your exam also, why there is a need of a complete separation between the all chamber of the human heart, because they need a high amount of energy to maintain their body temperature. And if it is done only when there is a complete separation between the all chamber of the heart, there is a no mixing of the deoxygenated and oxygenated blood. So what is blood pressure? If we talk about the blood pressure is what the pressure at which the blood is pumped out against the wall of a vessel is called blood pressure. So if you see the pressure, how we will measure this blood pressure? We measure this blood pressure by an instrument. That instrument is known as a sphygmomanometer. Again, I repeat, the instrument by that blood pressure is measure, that we call as a, this is that instrument that we call as a sphygmomanometer. And what actually we measure, actually what happens, the pressure of the blood inside the artery during the contraction, means the when the blood is flowing from the ventricle into the artery, so that time it is in a contract, ventricle is in the contract phase, that is known as the systolic pressure. And when the blood is not flowing, that time ventricles are in the relaxed state. So in that case the pressure of the blood is known as the diastolic pressure, right? So the normal systolic pressure is about 120 mm mercury and the diastolic pressure is 80 mm mercury. If you remember, doctor used to say this is 120 and 80. What is that? This is a systematic, this is the diastolic. So this systolic pressure is the 120 mm mercury, diastolic pressure is the 80 mm mercury. So this we call as a one complete cardiac cycle. And how many times it is circulating the blood, that we call as actually one cardiac cycle. And we count for a minute, it is a 70 cycles. So when we are measuring this, so that time actually what we are measuring the blood pressure, right? And it is measured by an instrument that I have told you, that is a sphygmomanometer. So children, this is all about the circulatory system of the humans. In that we had discussed about the blood, components of the blood, type of blood vessels, and the mechanism and structure of the human heart. I hope you will understand all the things very clearly. And in the next video, we will meet with the transportation in plants. Thank you.